California, once the land of dreams with a population larger than Canada, now feels more like a live-action disaster movie. The San Andreas Fault is poised to deliver a special effect that could level half the southern region. But the apocalypse here isn't just geological, it's also social and economic. Homeless encampments dominate the streets, especially in San Francisco and Los Angeles, where tech billionaires sip $15 lattes next to tent cities where homeless women and children sleep. In Los Angeles County alone, over 70,000 people live on the streets, a stark contrast to the luxury mansions of Beverly Hills. Government programs seem more designed to generate cash flow for bureaucrats, consultants, and corporations, while structural solutions are deliberately avoided, allowing the problem to worsen each year. But thankfully, California has the best mayor ever, and surely he'll fix this chaos. Right? People are fleeing the state en masse due to skyrocketing housing costs, taxes, and endless traffic. Meanwhile, wildfires rage with the power of a Hollywood blockbuster. Every year, so much land burns that you can watch it disappear on Google Maps. These infernos not only destroy homes and nature, but also devastate air quality, leaving cities like Sacramento and San Francisco temporarily with the dirtiest air in the world. California's greenhouse gas emissions cheerfully contribute to rising sea levels. Yes, they're sawing off the very branch they're sitting on. And as the water rises and people leave, one place remains untouched. Area 51. Maybe the aliens there are the only ones who can save this state. But let's be honest, even they would probably want out. Still, the entire US would mourn if California were to collapse, because this state contributes a ridiculous amount to the economy. With a gross state product of over $4 trillion, California is the fifth largest economy in the world, bigger than countries like the United Kingdom and India. Silicon Valley and Hollywood rake in billions, even as the waters of San Francisco Bay creep closer to the front doors of their startups. So, America, cherish California while you can. If this state goes under, you'll lose not just the tech companies stealing your data, but also the memes that brighten your day. We used to think Florida would be overrun by Cuban prison escapees, but now the threats have taken on a much larger scale, from rising sea levels to geopolitical chaos. The Sunshine State is teetering on the edge of becoming a snorkeling destination for future history books. For years, Florida has been battered by hurricanes that topple entire cities like dominoes, but now the rising water levels have become a permanent enemy. On the bright side, this might be a blessing for anyone who hates SeaWorld. They still keep orcas in captivity there, but if Florida goes underwater, those poor orcas might finally gain their freedom, a win for all of us. Meanwhile, invasive species like Burmese pythons in the Everglades are wreaking ecological havoc, threatening to choke the entire ecosystem. With predators seemingly appearing out of nowhere, Florida is starting to look more like Jurassic Park than a natural habitat. And as if that's not enough, Cuba is literally just around the corner, where China has now established spy outposts. This means Florida isn't just on the front lines of rising tides, it's also the first target in any potential geopolitical showdown. Let's not forget the infamous Stand Your Ground law, which allows controversial self-defense claims and has given the state a reputation as a place where you can get away with just about anything, including questionable legal rulings. Add in a housing crisis and a population that loves its bizarre legislation, and you've got the perfect storm. Florida also boasts the highest percentage of seniors in the US. 21% of the population is over 65. It's no wonder people jokingly call it God's waiting room. This creates a unique mix of fragile retirees, ambitious real estate investors, and the ever-present threat of natural disasters. If Florida truly disappears, we'll lose more than Disney World and Key West. We'll lose one of America's most unpredictable, chaotic, and fascinating states, not to mention its stunning beaches. If Florida floods, Louisiana seems determined to join the race to be the first state to completely disappear. Known for its Tabasco sauce and unique culture, Louisiana is facing threats far beyond just water. The list of problems is endless. Louisiana consistently ranks as one of the worst states to live in America. This isn't just because it's the birthplace of Ellen DeGeneres, but also due to sky-high poverty rates. alarming levels of violence, and air pollution so thick you might as well get a free starter pack for COPD with it. In England, they drive on the left, but in Louisiana, they drive on what's left. The infrastructure is literally crumbling. The Mississippi Delta is shrinking faster than an ice cube in the summer sun, and every rainstorm brings a new flood. At the same time, the polluted environment makes life unbearable. The air is toxic from factories, and the coastline is being relentlessly destroyed by oil drilling. Meanwhile, the state struggles daily with violence and poverty. Louisiana has one of the highest crime rates in the country, and an economy barely holding itself together. It feels like the state is under siege from every angle. And as if that weren't enough, the annual hurricane season brings even more chaos. But while the land is literally washing away, the unique Cajun and Creole culture fights to survive. If Louisiana disappears, America will lose more than just land. It will lose a rich culture and history. Crawfish, gumbo, beignets, music, and the warmth of its people. It would all be gone. Sadly, it seems the world has already given up on Louisiana, long before the rising water gets a chance to swallow it completely. It's always been a bit questionable whether Alaska really feels like part of America. It's like that distant relative you only see at Thanksgiving. Technically family, but kind of an outsider. Did you know Alaska is just a short boat ride away from Russia? Oh, wait. Is that why America wanted it so badly? Now it makes sense. Strategically located and rich in natural resources. But if Alaska isn't wiped out in a third world war, it has plenty of other problems waiting in line. Mother Nature seems to have a personal vendetta against Alaska. The permafrost, that frozen layer of ground literally holding everything together, is melting faster than ever. Entire villages are sinking, roads are splitting apart, and infrastructure is crumbling into uselessness. Meanwhile, the oil industry keeps drilling away, happily accelerating the very climate change that's destroying everything in its wake. And just to add to the chaos, the melting ice is opening up new shipping routes, fueling geopolitical tensions. Russia is probably grinning smugly across the Bering Strait. But who in Alaska would even notice? Half the state doesn't have reliable internet to keep up with the news anyway. Yet beyond geopolitics, survival in Alaska is no walk in the park. Getting lost in the vast wilderness can be a death sentence. Every year, people succumb to hypothermia or vanish into the endless expanse. Most towns and villages are so remote, they're only accessible by plane, boat, or snowmobile. Oh, and let's not forget, some parts of Alaska endure months of total darkness. For anyone prone to seasonal depression, that's probably worse than the freezing cold. But Alaska isn't all doom and gloom. It's also a land of raw, untamed beauty, where ice bears roam and the northern lights paint the skies in a dance of magic. It's a place that feels untouched by time, a true wilderness unlike anywhere else on Earth. Yet even as Alaska holds on to its rugged charm, its future feels fragile. If the permafrost keeps thawing and global tensions rise, America could lose more than just a strategic gold mine. It could lose a one-of-a-kind piece of the planet, an untamed frontier that reminds us of what nature looks like before we ruin it. Ever fried an egg on your hood? In Nevada, that's not a joke. It might just be a survival tactic. Summer temperatures here literally reach boiling point, and as the asphalt melts, so does the state's future. Let's be real. Without gambling revenue, Nevada would just be New Mexico, but drier. Casinos barely keep the economy afloat because, let's face it, brothels? They're not exactly an economic powerhouse. Outside of Las Vegas and Reno, the economy leans heavily on mining and massive warehouses, but even that doesn't offer much of a future. Those lucky enough to get an education often pack their bags and head to states with better opportunities. And good luck if you ever need a doctor. Primary care physicians are hard to find, and specialists? Forget it. You'd be better off betting your savings on surviving without medical care. Public transportation? Almost non-existent, unless you're planning to start a camel caravan. Then there's the water crisis. Lake Mead is drying up, and when it's gone, so goes the power from the Hoover Dam, along with Nevada's dream of sustainability. The desert is slowly winning, and Nevada is beginning to feel more like a mirage, a shimmering illusion of wealth in a drying, struggling state. Almost heaven, West Virginia. John Denver once sang about the stunning mountains and flowing rivers of this state. But today, that heaven feels farther away than ever. The idyllic landscapes remain, but the reality of life in West Virginia is far from heavenly. Poverty here ranks among the worst in the developed world, with some communities in the southern region completely stuck in despair. Crime runs rampant due to an underfunded police force, and drug addiction has the state in a stranglehold. Overdoses have become a grim part of daily life, and narcotics are handed out almost casually. Like candy. Environmental concerns? The smoke from wildfires and pollution from outdated industries have made the air unhealthy, while basic infrastructure struggles to stay operational. The once inspiring natural beauty is fading, both literally and metaphorically. But what's truly erasing West Virginia from the map isn't a natural disaster or sudden event. It's a slow, inevitable decline. The economy remains tethered to a dying coal industry. Young people are fleeing en masse, and investments in the future are nowhere to be found. It's a tragic story of a state that was once a proud part of America, but now feels like a shadow of its former self. New York, the city that never sleeps, though it might do well to take a nap and sort out its problems. Movies have long sealed New York's fate. If aliens land, a meteor strikes, or disaster unfolds, the Big Apple is always the first target. And honestly, in real life, that scenario feels increasingly plausible. Even Batman wouldn't stand a chance anymore. Rats roam the streets and subways as if they're the true residents, while the city's infrastructure is crumbling like a relic of the past. The subway system is literally falling apart, driving New Yorkers to the brink. Bridges are deteriorating, and potholes plague the roads. Add in social tensions, ranging from polarizing wokeness to extreme inequality. And you have a city teetering on collapse. And then there are the Karens, those who demand to speak to the manager because their coffee isn't hot enough. They seem as at home here as the rats in chaos, a uniquely New York phenomenon, perhaps. Geographically, New York sits on shaky ground. With Manhattan barely above sea level, the city is one storm away from permanent flooding. And if Russia ever decides to launch an attack, New York, as a densely populated economic hub, is an obvious target. Combine that with outdated infrastructure and a widening wealth gap, and you've got a recipe for disaster. The city still has its charm, but the question remains, for how much longer? New York is starting to feel like a shadow of its former self. Even Hollywood's heroes wouldn't bother saving it anymore. And maybe that's the clearest sign that the Big Apple has a worm at its core. Texas, once stolen from Mexico by pro-slavery colonists, has always had a complicated relationship with freedom and justice. Ironically, it's now a state where freedom feels scarce, and the laws are so absurd they verge on unlivable. Refugees crossing the border dream of a better life, but often end up trapped in a system that treats them like criminals. Even Texans themselves seem imprisoned in their own Lone Star dystopia. The Texas prison system is infamous. It boasts the highest incarceration rate in the U.S., often filled with people ensnared by plea deals or punished for minor infractions. It feels like everyone is either behind bars or risking their life on I-35, where the insane traffic makes it seem like nobody drives under 90 miles per hour. If you're not locked up, you're probably getting run over. Meanwhile, corrupt politicians like Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton churn out laws that make life harder for everyone. Public transportation? Almost non-existent. Schools? On the brink of collapse. Even nature seems to have a vendetta against Texas. Extreme heat, drought, desertification, hurricanes, and tornadoes are turning the state into a battlefield. Texas is iconic, bold, and larger than life. But how long can it hold together? Between a prison system that swallows its own people and an environment that seems determined to destroy it, Texas is hurtling toward an empty horizon, a vast barren echo of its former glory.